Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. How you doing today? Mike Zuber, one rental at a time, with one of his students. How you doing, Rich?
I'm doing fantastic.
Awesome, man. Thank you for doing this for me. I know it's always interesting talking to this new guy, recording something so we can help others. Why don't you introduce yourself, Rich, to the channel, who you are, what you do, where you are in the country?
Yes, so my name is Rich Liebengood. My wife and I own the Good Life Group here in Boise. We help people, buy, sell, and invest in real estate. And we're also investors ourselves. And I just really enjoy following your channel. And it's a pleasure to talk to you.
I appreciate that. There's a couple things that when we were going through our one-on-one mentoring, I wanted to get on video because I think people need to hear this. First and foremost, you've been investing in Boise since 2008. Is that correct?
Since 8,
yeah. And what you were really sharing is the last year or so, it's been tough to get a deal, right? Boise's kind of nutty.
I got some crazy stories. It's nutty.
Yeah. And what I just want people to realize here is sometimes the markets, especially if you're farming in a market that for whatever reason gets hot with external focus, right? We joked that Gavin Newsom is the #1 real estate agent in Boise. I can't imagine the amount of transplants. They're like, hey, I'm selling my San Francisco or LA or Seattle home and I'm coming to Boise. And when you have a market that's relatively fixed for supply and you get 5,000 or 8,000 or 10,000 well-funded individuals, it leads to pretty good price appreciation.
It does. And the other thing that it does is it pushes the locals.
Yes.
It really puts some downward pressure on, the people living here wanting to buy a house when we've got this appreciation so fast. But the cool thing is, Michael, is we're starting to see that I'm starting to see some of those buyers that basically got buyer fatigue.
Yeah.
They're starting to come back into the market.
Yeah, that's really where I wanted to take this. One is investors realize if you're fishing in a pond that has a lot of people fishing, it's tough, but eventually the market works out. And the housing slowdown is real, even in Boise. I think Boise is the #1 market in the country. At least it has been what the reports I look at. But what happens? I don't know. I don't know if it's greed or what happens, but eventually sellers who live in Boise probably own the home for years or decades. They go, oh my God, I can sell my house for what? And then they go, I've always wanted to live in Florida or Texas or wherever they want to go. And then they put out a price that's $50K over what any real estate agent would say, right? Because their brother said. And in the beginning, it works because some California investor comes in and goes, an extra 25 grand doesn't matter to me. I'm paying cash. Who cares? But as that continues, what happens is you reach some equilibrium. And now that stupid $50K price that worked in April doesn't work in October. And what will happen in Boise, my guess, and you'll validate this or not, is first off, more listings. The days on market is like the first thing to move, right? We went from 7 days to now at 11 or 12. And now that doesn't seem like a lot, but that's almost 100% move in days on market. Have you guys started to see that already?
Oh, absolutely. The real tail was clear back in June, July. You could actually see the tail starting to wag, but it didn't show. But it doesn't show up in the numbers. It just showed up because when you're working it every day.
Yeah, every day. Yeah.
All of a sudden, it's like, wow, we only got 6 offers.
There's only 12 people at the open house.
And then you're like, well, maybe it was just an anomaly, and then you start to see that over time and pretty soon, but it still sells and it still sells over and all of that. So we're seeing those days on market starting to come up. And really the overpriced, it's really just this spitball stuff out there.
Throw it at a wall. Yeah.
And now it's really starting to come down. And I think I was sharing with you earlier, that does not mean the Boise market is going to crash.
No, exactly.
By any stretch of the imagination, it's just we've been speeding 20 miles an hour over the speed limit for 3 hours.
Yeah.
And we're rolling into a town and we think, oh, we better slow down.
Exactly. That's a perfect analogy. I know there are YouTube channels out there calling Boise crash and all of that stuff because they're pointing at days on market or they're pointing at the percentage of price drops. That's not how real estate works, folks. This is not a stock market. Real estate has price elasticity. and all of these things. And I've come out and I've said, I had Boise on my list. Boise, Reno, and San Francisco are kind of my three markets. And Boise just got a lot of its appreciation early, right? It was all like front loaded. We're going to plateau, and yeah, you could see, ups and downs a little bit, but it's not going to crash.
No, I don't believe it's going to crash. We just went so hard, so long, so fast
Exactly.
that now we're just starting to get a little more balanced market. And when did everybody think that houses sold in hours, not days?
Yeah, I know. There were people in different markets across the country. It's like, my house didn't sell in 24 hours. I'm like, when did that become a thing, right? When does an agent get upset that he has no offers in 24 hours? It's crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy the last 18 months.
Yeah. So what I think is going to happen in Boise will happen in Reno, will happen in Tahoe, these little tertiary markets that had well-heeled investors come in that wasn't ready, right? Boise wasn't ready for 10,000, well-heeled investor or homeowners to come in and buy. You weren't building for that. There was no central planning. So prices went up. Now what's going to happen, in my opinion, which will be very interesting, is do we get a boomerang season, right? Maybe 1,000 of the 10,000 come in, you have a nasty winter, or all of these companies that say work from anywhere, or the retiree that suddenly doesn't want to be retired, do they boomerang back? And then do you get do you get a wave of listings in February? That will be interesting to see.
Well, it'll be interesting to see. We have had a few people that bought and turned around and
already.
From about a year ago, we had one client just missed family more than
they thought.
It happened. Family.
Yeah.
So yeah, there is still people that are, and it is true. The last couple of winters have been pretty mild. So
we'll see what happens with those California thin-skinned Californians when they go through a real winter in Boise.
I know. My wife always jokes. She goes, "You wear shorts until it snows," but I have a sweatshirt on.
Yeah. You don't do that. We complain it's 60. Yeah, not 32. We complain it's 60. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. So yeah, I think Boise goes from 100 to 70 to 50 to 40. But really to me, Boise is going to be interesting February, March, April of next year. I think the dominoes are already set up for this year, right? Prices are kind of plateauing or slowing down. Days on market will expand. You have a few price drops. For me, it is going to be the winter. It is going to be technology offices opening back up. It is going to be retirees who miss family. We are going to know what happens to the Boise real estate market come, the thick of winter, which usually is what, January and February?
Yeah, December, January.
Okay.
So we'll see it in the spring. And we typically have a seasonal slowdown.
Yeah, no.
The winter time, and that's the best time to buy here.
Oh, heck yeah.
Always has been.
Yeah. My best time to buy is Thanksgiving to Christmas.
Yeah, I think we had Snowmageddon here a couple years ago. My wife and I swore to God we were the only ones working.
It's a great time, right? When everybody's off doing other things, I like to buy, right? Lots of investors. That actually shared that this morning on my live stream. My deal of the decade often becomes between Thanksgiving and New Year's Eve, because everybody stops doing the work. They do the daily discipline and then they just stop. It's crazy. Rich, did I lose you?
You did for a second.
Oh, sorry about that. So yeah, what I was saying is I have this notion of deal of the decade, and I talk about it coming around once a year. Most of the time it comes around between Thanksgiving and New Year's.
We call it a Christmas house.
Oh, the Christmas house. Oh, I like that. I might steal that.
Every year. You don't know where it comes from, but it always shows up.
That's right. You get that person that has to sell, got to get out. Nobody else is shopping. You get a discount because you can close. It's a great time to have equity lines or cash ready to go.
Absolutely.
Yeah, very cool. Well, do me a favor. Lots of people are interested in Boise. If they wanted to reach out to you, Rich, because you are a local, you've been investing there since 2008. How do you want them to reach out? Phone number, email? How do you want to do it?
Either way, they can look up the Good Life Group at Keller Williams, or they can call my personal cell number at 208-954-6404.
Very cool, Rich. One more time, give us that number one more time in case somebody didn't have a pen.
208-954-6404.
Very cool, Rich. Thank you very much for your time. I need to go take care of my honeydew list with Olivia. So have a wonderful day. All right.
I appreciate it.
Take care. Thanks again.